I like to reflect on the guest speaker, the principal of Inclusive Schools um, from the York Region District School Board, Fazia Durrani. And so from her presentation, this is a quote that really stuck out with me. You cannot change any society unless you take responsibility for it, unless you see yourself as belonging to it and responsible for changing it. So the our board has been doing work with Erica Buchanan Rivera, and so Fazia takes some important quotes from her book, and so it's really important. I take away to create these authentic identity affirming spaces, and so these spaces are spaces where people can be their authentic selves, environments that require intentional care. And it's designed with the input and voices of people you serve, especially marginalized community. And so care would be examples of care would be connectivity, accountability, responsivity, and empathy. And it's also important to be anti-oppressive and reflect conditions that enhance one's ability to thrive. Now, in order to affect this change and disrupt and create this disruption, um, there's building capacity, especially with professional development, and navigating the resistance that occurs, and also engaging voice, and especially the voice of marginalized students and individuals. And then it's important to monitor and measure the impact. So equity is first. So let's look at what kind of collective equity commitments need to be made, and so equity is first and foremost pedagogical. Equity is the work. So address the disproportionality in access to opportunities, outcomes for marginalized students, and acknowledge and address the harmful experiences of students and families who have been marginalized. So positive change requires to unlearn and relearn and create centers of voices, brilliance, and cultural wealth of marginalized students, families, and communities. And so that's very powerful. And so to end it off, we um, had takeaways by breaking up into breakout groups. And so the question we had was, how do we disrupt these common practices in our school so that they are more equitable? And so we had great discussions. For example, preparing for parent teacher interviews, admitting a late student to class, responding to incidences of harm, student to student conflict, planning to planning spirit school community building days, enforcing student dress code. And so we had rich discussions on these topics and were able to share, for example, not having something like crazy hair day or would be one example. So excellent discussion, and it was a really inspiring talk and a lot of very rich takeaways.